no doctrine, yeah, doctrine of anger. Tamashi no tempti, and tempti the playful. He's translated it as, but let me do the thing. They are obviously based on the Kidairoku, right? No, I need the walking spoilers for this one. Yeah, so these guys are based on the Kido Ayuraku, which is happiness, anger, sorrow, and joy, and Tempti is of joy. And I know what you're thinking, what's the difference between happiness and joy? In the context of this game, joy is deriving enjoyment, whereas happiness is the state of being happy and contentment. But the difference between those is also a thing that philosophers have debated for fucking, like, literally hundreds of years, and there's loads and loads of books arguing just about that one little thing. What's the difference between happiness and joy? But yeah, it's doctrine of anger and tempti of joy, but like playful is a good translation of that. Like, she just does things because she thinks it'll be fun. And they are the envoys. Yeah, they are the envoys of the God Most High, the Supreme God, enactors of divine will, and both parent and sibling to all parallel worlds. In short, they are the summit and peak of all existence. Benaji's like, what the heck? This feeling. And then Ryoma says, what the... I'm getting the same feeling as those weird Angoroids and the Crystal Fellas. And then Doctrine explains that written into human DNA is an instinctive reverential fear of these beings. And it's the same things we felt then. And Tempti says that all humans are like her children, after they landed on the moon and Chrono is founded. And it's like, oh, so you guys edited human DNA. Sounds sort of like the proto-culture first granted humans our intelligence. And they went, yep, and it was that act of hubris that marked the proto-culture for death, and we murdered them. It was they who summoned the spiritual seekers from the sub-universe. And it's like, oh shit, so you're the ones who let the proto-devil in to fuck everything up. And Simon is like, oh, it all makes sense now. And he says the despair that the anti-spirals feared at the end of evolution. It's these guys, the envoys. And the Doctrine and Tempti call the anti-spirals a prudent race, arresting not only their own evolution, but also that of humans nearby. And Zero says that they're arrogant and demands to know if they're gods. And Doctrine says, if one terms a god that which has power surpassing mortal ken, then the envoys are indeed gods relative to current mankind. But in absolute terms, no. In part because they're not stupid enough to succumb to such conceit. They, like it says on the tin, they are the envoys of a higher power, the one and only supreme god. And Mikage and Hades are like, these fucking jokers, we don't want to hear this shit again after 120 million years. Fuck them. And Benaji now understands that it must have been one of these guys that Cyan Vist saw in the Flames of Laplace. It's like, these guys are the masters of Sidereal. It's they who truly regulate human evolution. And like, yep, Gadlight and the Geminids, they knew this shit already. Yeah, they said Earthlings are all slated for elimination, regardless of whether they submitted to Sidereal or not. Unlike the Geminids, who are docile enough to control but fierce enough to be useful in battle, but still got their shit kicked in, the Earthlings are too dangerous to be left on the loose. And the same went for Barbiel's race. And then Akagi's like, hey, Didi, when you were around ZBlue, what the fuck was that? And she's like, oh, you know, it's just my deal. Just thought it'd be a good fucking laugh, so she sewed up. And then Doctor says that's part of it. Like, Tempty is of the playful, the joyful. Like, she thought it'd be really fun. And she said, but there was a reason to it. All the spheres and all the sphere reactors belong to... all the spheres and all the reactors belong to the envoys. They are all theirs. And Tempty says, yeah, Australis, you know how much trouble you're in for running off with them? He just looks. But Tempty, and then Hibiki's like, TT's like, what, Hibiki? Like, that story about your father and your brother dying and your mother missing, was that? And she goes, yep, made it all up. Just did it all. Just as it was carefully calculated lie to perfectly aim directly at you and manipulate you into accepting me so I could hang out. And he said, did it work? And he's like, yes it did, because you're silent. Nice work. Setsuko says that Barbiel, with all of his hate, must have felt pleased to be recognised and empowered by someone like Tempty. And the Doctrine says, Barbiel the Needle. It's not just him, it's all the sphere reactors are fated to gather to the envoys. And then Tempty's like, come on, Hibiki, come with me, come with Tempty. He said, with the Luna dead, you can be my new favourite. And Suzune's like, shut up, Hibiki's not anybody. And he just says, don't, just... Hibiki, he says, just don't bother. He says, it's fine, TT. She's like, And he says, I'm not mad, like, I'm just happy that there was no really sad girl who died meaninglessly in a fight. If there was no TT, if she wasn't real, that's good, actually. He's like, what, really? And he says, with a straight face somehow, that he won't give Tempty the pleasure of his angst. And she's like, oh! But she's like, and he says, well, it's that positive attitude of yours that makes you so fun. And then Doctrine compliments him on such iron resolve and calls him Umbriel the Overriser. And then Hamariel the Star, Velkiel the Heat, and Zuriel the Unbreakable. And then Doctrine orders them to all come to his side, saying that what they desire is of no consequence. And Tempty's like, yep, come on, let's go. 8 spheres, only 4 left then. And then Hibiki says, you know what, let's see if, let's put our will of being no consequence to the test, huh? Like, I'm gonna show you our willpower. And then Advent shows up and just says that none are allowed to harm the envoys. Advent! He's like, so, Hibiki, come if you can. And Hibiki pointedly doesn't do shit. Red eye! Ah! It's like, damn, he's got the red eye thing. Advent, what have you done? And then Doctrine says that it's part of the envoy's power. And Advent says that Hibiki has touched a fragment of their power. And it's a power that steals souls and sunders hearts from the weak. And he turned up when he realised that Tempty was in the world, judging that he could no longer be bound by the past. Because he too is an envoy. He left 12,000 years ago. And he's Advent the Joyful, Advent the Happy. Like, what do they call him here? He's Advent... yeah, Advent of Happiness. And it's like, and then Zero's like, well, now it's all clear. Now I know why Gadlight was so furious at you. You're the one who just destroyed his world. And he's like, he said at the time he'd just been a carefree traveller. And he says that he often plays devil's advocate against his servants, placing trials in their path to make them stronger, as the envoy's top servants must be. And that was true for both Geminis, Sidereal, and for us. And Doctrine seems to have been burned by such a tactic in the past, but he admits that getting dudes to be strong does have a useful angle to it. But one thing Advent did not arrange is for Hibiki to get his sphere. Yeah, it's like, so all this shit you manipulate Hibiki sphere, and he's like, nah, I didn't do that, that was just the result of a long series of coincidences. But his interest in Hibiki really began with Hibiki's mother. It's like, Hibiki's mother, Megumi Ragnard. And he's like, yep, a uniquely gifted scientist, a combination of superdimensional physics and archaeology led her to independently discover the existence of the envoys from studying ancient ruins. And thus she was punished. And they made her despair so badly that she strove to take the life of her beloved son. What interested Advent, though, was how she somehow transcended both despair and hope by pure force of intellect, and instead killed herself and saved her son's life. Everyone's like, wow, Hibiki, that's a fucked up backstory. And Advent says that maybe he thought at the time her son would be capable of a similar feat, and suitable as the reactor of the quarrelling twins. But, to be sure, he'd first have to add the despair. And lo and behold, Hibiki did encounter the quarrelling twin sphere, and surpassed hope and despair. And Advent says that Hibiki's not unique in having his life toyed around with by Advent. He says that throughout space there are approximately 93,274 children that he's messed with. And he said, and isn't it nice, Hibiki, that at least one of you is worthy of my love? And then Hibiki mumbles that Advent has given him some real good news. It's like, Hibiki, what the... And he says, his mother really was a mother after all, a person that he doesn't need to hate or fear anymore. And that means no fucking mercy for the people who killed his family. And then Doctrine is like, the boy, no more red eye thing. He's like, ooh, what special? The boy's gonna come. And then Advent says that Hibiki's not the only one stretching forth his hand towards the shining of the sun. And it's all of Zet Blue, and then Doctrine says that it seems that judgment must come to this Earth after all. Ryoma tells him to shut the fuck up, because that's all he can really do. And Banjo is like, what sort of judgment admits of no counter-argument, consisting of no judge, jury, and only the executioner? And then we're like, and then Session's like, yeah, and the execution have to work double time as long as we're around. And it's like, and then Tempty's like, ooh, there's gonna be a fight! And then Doctrine is like, Doctrine says that perfect timing. The Mayol Galaxy in World 23 is in readiness. So peep your eyes on this, suckers. Time for a show of force. Impossible! Bacana! So what they just showed us all was a vision of an entire galaxy being destroyed. And Tri's like, ridiculous, like, is this true? And AG's like, yep, absolutely. Using the super dimensional bullshit that we've got, a galaxy did in fact just get blown to dust. It's like, this power, how can we... Kay doesn't like how casually these three jokers seem to have just, you know, done such an incredibly outrageous act of destruction. And Doctrine says that he wasn't casual at all. He was furious as he did it. And Tempty was like, yeah, I was enjoying it. And Advent says that, yeah, he was happy. Shit blows up good. But it was for the greater good. And seeing things work towards the greater good fills him with happiness. And so everybody on our team's really fucking irritated with that. And he's like, yep, we're cool dudes. And then Bright and Fog Sweeper and Go and the other variously, like, the more calm-headed dudes start throwing around that these guys are the enemies of all living things. And it seems that these guys would be the primordial menace rather than Baal. And then these guys say, well, anyway, we're not going to be throwing down with you today. We've come to activate the system that slumbers at the terminus. It's like, wait, you mean at the poles of the Earth? And obviously that gets the Evangelion kids real fucking worried because of what lives at the poles on their Earth. And out come these weird little eggs. Weird little crystal monster fuckers. And the Doctrine calls them El Millennium, the servants of judgment. It's like, what the heck? There's three of these weird crystal fellas. And Advent says, yes, these are El Millennium. They were buried at the poles of Earth right when Earthlings first reached their moon. And that's not the only gift they have for us. And Tempty's like, yep, here's another present. Bunch of the Black Angorois. And Vildark calls them Angoroi Arkas, is their proper name, and he says that the Sidral Angorois are just copies of these original real deals. It's like, dang it, these crystal fellas and black thing, oh, how are we gonna deal with it? This sucks. And then Tempty tells Australis that they'll forgive him his transgressions if he steals the 4 spheres from the Earthlings. And Vildark says, 1, my name is not Australis, and 2, I'm Dimensional General Vildark, and 3, fuck off. He says as one of the 4 dimensional generals, his whole objective is to defeat the envoys. And then she's like, oh, nice work, Vildark, you're really doing it. And Doctrine says that, I mean, that's the Rising Archer sphere, it feeds off of resistance. And that hadn't escaped their notice. And Vildark says, yeah, I guess that means you're arrogant enough to think that you could win anyway. So Vildark is just gonna fucking book it now. And Koji's like, come on dude, join our powers together, we can fight them with both of us together. And he just says, no. That's it, he's like, no, fight on your own power. And he says, fight on your own power until I come and collect your spheres so that the envoys might die. And they leave. It's like, dang it, this dude, he's a real shithead. And then these guys are like, yep, we're gonna go get our power sorted so we can come back another time, sort this shit out. And, you know, there's lots of room for them to go hang out. And then Tempty's like, yeah, they can go wherever they like, it's pointless. They can't enter our stronghold, the Chaos Cosmos. And then Vicky's like, oh yeah, Advent. He's like, huh. And then they leave. And Benko's like, what the hell, them just running like us? What the? And Hayato says, well, I mean, I guess they just don't give a shit about us, to be honest. We don't register on their threat scale at all. Guess that's something we're going to have to work on, but for now we need to deal with these weird crystal monsters, because even one of them could completely destroy Earth. So how are we going to fight 3 of them? And it's time for Tria's last resort, and she's like, yep, didn't really want to do this, but time to give the sign. And she said she's been on the phone for that entire huge conversation, and she's got the Federation President's approval, and now we've got to hold on for 3 minutes, trying to ignore the fact that, you know, there's a hopeful departure to the center of the galaxy is now turned into, holy shit, we're fucked. But there you go. Howdy, Ranko, how you doing? How you doing? It's good. Yeah, no. She wasn't with Advent all along, because Advent, like, he said that he was just a regular wanderer. He's a vagrant. And Advent and Tiddy and Doctrine were a bit like, Advent's here. But she's just doing shit. She was just doing it because she thought it'd be funny, is mostly the deal. And now I need to defeat all of the IDOM guys for 100 Z chips, which is all these dudes, and they're all really powerful and strong and rude. And I hate it. But we do have the miracle. So let's see what we can do. This guy. And then we can get these 3 dudes with a map attack. The way you're only up for shits and giggles? No, to protect everything. To make sure, like the Geminites were allowed to live because they were good enough at fighting to be useful, but they were docile enough to be controlled, whereas Earthlings are completely uncontrollable. We're too rowdy. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, now I need to be there. Ding, 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 yeah. So we're almost full. No, it's all of humanity are too rowdy. All of you look in the mirror and think about how much you enjoy the rowdy boys and how you want them to be rowdier. It's true. It's true. It's all true. We're maniacs, and they're gonna blow us up. No, that doesn't control Rome. If you go, hey, those guys are their assholes and they're getting murdered, he'd go, who are you to say who gets fucking murdered? You're not the boss of me. And then he'll murder you, because people who order other people to get murdered are usually bad. It's got a strong sense of justice and bloodlust. Thank you, Noriko, for this gift of the rowdy map attack. And there's Buster Machine, Neo Buster Machine number 3 in the bag. It's a big space-time concussion bomb. The original Buster Machine number 3 was way bigger because it had Jupiter in it, and it was a black hole bomb. But this one's got shit worked on by literally every scientist of all time, including Leonard. Even he helped out in some way. Oh, Naruto max XP level. Next level. Done. None more XP to next level. There's just no more levels. She did it. One rowdy boy who's not good. Good luck. Tempty, Advent, and Doctrine are the envoys of the Supreme God, the God Most High, and it's their job to make sure nothing gets out of hand, and the humans get out of hand, so we're slated to destruction. And they make Sidril do shit, and they make Chrono, whenever the people first do the thing, they show up and like, hey guys, you can't do no more shit, eat shit, and they make Chrono. And Sidril are sort of about fighting them, because that's that guy. Mate, that's Australis, he wants to stop these shitheads. And yeah, and it's Doctrine of Anger, Advent of Happiness, and Tempty of Joy, or like playful Tempty. And she everything she does, she just does because she thinks it's fun, and she derives enjoyment from it. And Advent is just happy all the time. Like every time he says goodbye, he's like, "Nice to see you again," and he's always a happy dude. And Doctrine is always mad as fuck, like he's furious. And they're based on the Kido Airaku, which is happiness, anger, sorrow, and joy. But we haven't met the sorrow one yet. But yeah, the big philosophy argument that there's been loads of books around is what's the difference between joy and happiness. And the difference as far as this game is concerned is like the most common version is joy is deriving enjoyment and happiness is like a state of contentment. They want the orb kids because they like the spheres are all theirs. The spheres are all theirs and all the sphere reactors are theirs, they say, but they haven't said why. Presumably because of whatever the spheres are all the 12 fragments of is theirs, like the original form of all 12 of them together is theirs, but no one explained yet. Right on. And they called them all by their angel names. And it could have been Advent, or Doctrine, or Tempty, just fucking showing up. They're the ones who did La Paz. Like, it could have been any of them. Doctrine, because he was mad about shit. Tempty, because she thought blowing up a space station full of dudes would be really fucking funny. And Advent, because it's for the greater good of all. And nothing makes them happier than serving the greater good. 874 PP, that ain't bad. That ain't bad for the lady. Considering that, like, the first half of the stage was all battleships and Joker Boy over here. Get one step closer. Double Buster Collider! You know what? Fucking Double Buster Collider first then. Yeah, Edwin and Tempty reaching. Like, was that story about your father and your brother being killed and you being a refugee and your mother being missing? Did you make that up? Yep! I carefully calculated the perfect story that would make you just instantly trust me and befriend me. Did it work? Guess it did, by the way you're sitting there in stunned silence. Haha! What a good joke I have played upon you. I pretended to be like you. Haha! Eat shit, weird boy. Get fucked on. And you got fucked on. Yeah, and then he was like, I'm glad that she wasn't real because that story's real sad. I'm glad that a sad girl who had all that shit happen to her wasn't real. I will not give you the joy of my angst. And then Tempty got mad. She's like, no, you're meant to do whatever I want, jerk off. Oh hey, look at that. Double damage Noriko when it shots these things at the end of all humanity. You would have guessed. Oh, and we did the Misstep Blue 2 contest and it was really good, and Mel was like, why is Xena allowed to enter when she's a sub-pilot when nobody else is? Because she's got big boobs. And AG went, it's a mystery. It's like, oh okay, fuck you buddy. Right on. Right on. Just... Bing, 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 bing. We can't be the baddies because then Doctrine clicked his fingers and a whole galaxy blew up. You know what? Alright, the time is not done. Haircut. Canario with the refill. Yeah, oh yeah, and the shitheads are like human DNA has been messed with, so we're all scared of them. No, Advent didn't invite. Tempty invited him. And then Hibiki was like, no way, we're gonna beat you guys up. And then Advent showed up and was like, actually, you literally can't. No one may harm the envoys. He's like, so try and slap my face if you can, and then Hibiki couldn't, and he shit himself. Nice. Combined Gunbuster. You got this. Oh, and there's only 3 dudes of Firebug left, and now they're part of the Planetary Defense Force of Mars, and they work under the Arcsabers because Crow got them that sweet deal. And the Arcsabers don't like Crow standing so close to Marguerite, but they got Ogi's shit because she's the princess and she can fuck whoever she wants. And the DLC was also different because Marita was alive, so he didn't get the bit where Hibiki's like, sorry, I was distracted by how good Setsuko moves. She's like, really? And now you just got these 2 space monsters at the opposite fucking ends of hell. Nice. Yeah, to be fair, you can't blame him for being all distractimated. And she's like, really? You'd say that in front of me? And she went, oh, fierce, isn't he? And then Sidral guy showed up, we beat them all up. Everybody was upset, Bright was annoyed, and they weren't even allowed to vote on a winner, and so Suzume went, well then I win by default, if it's no contest, previous champion wins. And then they said it was all Hibiki's fault. He's like, what, why me? It's like, because you voted last time, if you hadn't made Suzume win last time, this wouldn't have happened. So take responsibility, which is, you know, the thing they say when you get a girl pregnant unexpectedly. And then it turned into that, and then Suzume was like, yeah, Vicky, you taking responsibility doesn't sound too bad, does it? And then Vicky just did ever-increasing, ah! What the fuck? And then Rand was like, oh jeez, Vicky's fucking life is over, he's fucking dead man fucking walking here. And Sayaka and Mikono were so lovey-dovey about Amada and Mikono and Koji that everybody was embarrassed. It was a good DLC. Oh yeah, Big Boy can become Big Boy now. Big Boy can become Big Boy, but he's gonna have his move used up because he becomes a boat now. But that's okay, he's Big Boy. 12 movement Big Boy, 12 movement Triple Large Big Boy. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good Big Boy. Yeah, oh yeah, when we were fighting the Sidro guys, we were like, what's this pressure? What's behind these guys? Is it... Can we feel dark? Oh, and Haman was overwhelmed by Nono's pressure, because Nono was like, can I call you Haman-sama? You're so beautiful and good and I love you. You're the best. Fucking hell. He's like, don't worry, I can go 3 times as fast as Shah. She's like, Jesus fucking Christ, it might be even better than that. But we did it, we beat all the Jokers. And then some more dudes show up and we're like, dang, how are we going to deal with a few more guys? And then Trier says the thing is ready. He's like, alright, give the order. And then Bright's like, yosh, alright, everybody gather up on the Buster machine. But we've got a... He's like, well, I'll explain later. Move. It's like, alright, jeez. So we move. It's like, shit, these guys are going to attack the Earth. This sucks. And then AG says, okay, well, you know those zones? And Wrath Babylon Spirit Extractor? And Try's like, yep, time to put it to some use for the Svaru. And it's time to create a dimensional barrier. Dimensional barrier? Boing. So we turn all the shit on the Earth. This is... what the heck? The dimensional barrier, Svaru. And now Earth's in a big egg. And so, according to AG, this is dimensional barrier Svaru system, or Svari system, and it has the effect of putting anything that touches it into the abyss between dimensions. And this impenetrable defense is the second of Earth's plans for survivals. The first is Neo Buster Machine number 3 to handle the offense, and Svari is Shiva, the mythical shield which stands before the shining deity that is the sun. And then, yeah, AG's the one who came up with that name. He borrowed for the same concepts as Jiminian Guy's armor, and then Hibika's like, wow, yeah, Jiminian Guy, same concept. Weird. AG seems to know a lot about it. And then it's like, but the energy for it. And Tri's like, okay, you know, this thing basically just distorts karma for anything touching its surface and prevents all interference from without and isolating those within from the rest of the universe. It's fine. But it's not a cure-all, because it does sort of resemble the time prison in terms of its thing. But also it depends on the life force of the volunteers who choose to get inside the spirit extraction system at Wrath Babylon. Like, there's people who are like, hey, so everybody doesn't die, we'll just get in this and do like a 12-hour shift. And of course people with strong spiritual force to begin with make the best candidates, which is why people like Relina and Nunnally are at the top of the list. But unlike Neo Buster Machine number 3, this was thrown together at the last minute, and given all the technical defects, Try will be amazed if it lasts a month. And don't even ask about just trying to start it up again if it turns off. So that's our deadline. We've got 1 month to save everything. And we got to defeat Baal, we got to do something about these damn envoys. And the plot said we had loads of trouble with those weird crystal dudes. Yeah, and then Haman's like, the El Millenniums and the Angoroyakas, they were real tough, jeez. And so we're not ready to throw down with the envoys just yet. But no turning back now, because, you know, we can't get in the egg. So time to have our meeting with fate and kick it to the curb. And here's a mysterious green-haired lady that we've seen before, who helps things. And she muses on the despair named possibility, and the destruction called evolution, and how opening the door closes off the future. And she says that she can no longer save us. And now we've got 30 days to go.